All right. How's it going, everybody? Good afternoon. Thank you for joining our Thursday session today. And we're about to go ahead and get started. And some of you might be coming from our masterclass, so I do appreciate, sorry, not masterclass, Maximizer. So I do appreciate you tuning in during this time as well. And what we're going to do today primarily is go ahead and walk through some examples that we have, and as well as answer any new questions that would come up on today's call. Since primarily this is going to be an advanced call, we're going to focus on those issues as it pertains to the investment dominator. So with that being said, we are going to just go ahead and inform you, number one, how you can join with the correct audio. You'll go ahead and hit right when you join this session, you'll see join with computer audio. In case if you do have multiple speakers or different types of audio setups, you want to go ahead and actually associate and click specifically on the audio of which system you want to go ahead and use and how you want to go ahead and proceed for the remainder of the call. And with that being said, if you want to go ahead and submit a question, which you want to just basically see walk through during our live demonstration, you can go ahead and either hit the Q&A option or use the chat function. But just keep in mind, primarily the chat function will be either for feedback or just directly being able to convey something to me on the stream. Like for example, if you are hearing my audio well and everything sounds good, go ahead and say hello into the chat. And also just keep in mind that all these sessions will be recorded, so you won't have to worry about vigorously taking notes or anything like that, because these sessions will be available after. And yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead now talk more about the deal flow process. We got some hellos in the chat. Hello to everybody. Hope you're having a great day. And when we talk about the LPG deal flow, we just want to keep in mind of our goals and our step-by-step process as to how we hit that desired end. So for example, we'll go ahead first and select that target market, and then we'll go ahead and get a contact list of landowners, and hopefully that list will be filtered specifically to your criteria. From which you'll go ahead and mail those letters and be able to talk to sellers. From that point, you'll go ahead and do some preliminary research, really start to get into the nitty-gritty so that you can go ahead and mail your offers and maybe even set up some option agreements. Now from that point, afterwards, you'll go ahead and move into the open escrow status, where you will proceed to do your detailed research. And from that point, you can go ahead and market the property with or without owner financing. Now, once we hit this stage, then really what we're all aiming to achieve for is being able to actually sell the property that we have listed onto our selling site and get paid. So, without further ado, let's continue on, and just some more information about really what's coming from you and what the Investment Dominator provides. So what's coming from you would be something that you see on the left-hand side. So for example, company information, county data, offer requests, whether that be through by phone or by website, property details, tasks, and you'll see some more information down below. Prospects, leads, buyers, transaction information, as well as lead tracking information. So all this is coming from you, and it's going into the Investment Dominator. And what you're able to do afterwards as a result is generate those letters, generate those offers. You have both of your two domains set up from our Monday call, so you'll go ahead and have your buying and selling site ready. You have calculators and tools to go ahead and generate those offers. And then analytics is really helpful when we start to branch off and try to see reports that are being done based on our campaigns, and as well as team management too. So with that being said, we really like to leave the Investment Dominator as a place where you can go ahead and voice your opinions at any time. And this really goes into how we'll go ahead and build the app out from now into the future, but it also does implement some of the ways that we do convey ourselves through user guide articles. So, if you ever have recommendations or you ever want to just give a shout out, go ahead and this survey will open up at the end of the stream. It'll just ask you for your name, your email address, and some questions about your familiarity with land and working with the Investment Dominator. Now, with that being said, I would like to start off our Thursday call with just our poll that we have. And what you're going to see opened up on your window right now is a poll, and it's going to basically ask you two questions. The first one being, are you new to the Investment Dominator? Because we do sometimes have new users who do join this advanced session, so it'd be good to know. And as well as which feature would you like to see discussed during this session? So that one is really, we change that week by week, and depending on the votes, we want to go ahead and see what has been done. So I'll let that go in the background. I'll give that about a minute or two just to gather up some votes so I could kind of gauge where we'll be heading with this call. But again, if you do have any specific questions that you want to walk through during this session, just go ahead and type those out, and we'll go ahead and look into that. But before we dive into the rest of the session here, I would like to just inform you all of a question that actually came up on Monday. One of our backlog questions. And the only thing that I did not remember, which I do apologize, was the person who asked the question. I give props to that person, but I do apologize for not having the name. Basically, what you're seeing on your screen right now is a land profit generator coaching. And the question was along the lines of, how do I get involved with a maximizer, or how do I get involved with a masterclass, let's say, or just events going on with the Investment Dominator? So what we really recommend to you all is to actually come to this site here, and that's Land Profit Generator Coaching. So you'll see offers coaching right there, but you should come to this page here. And this page is going to go ahead and allow you to actually set up a free 20-minute consultation. And what you'll basically see, you could also just read through the page here, but what you're going to be able to see is that you will be able to schedule a call with a sales member who will go ahead and communicate to you a number of things. So first, they're going to go ahead and analyze, your position with the Investment Dominator and how far you've come across, just to be able to see what you really need. So, if you're really advanced with the Investment Dominator, you might not, want a maximizer. But if you want to refresh with the Investment Dominator, it's been about a year since you came back and really got involved with it, maximizer might be something that would catch you up. Or let's say if you're still thinking about coaching and potentially, they go ahead and they recommend you for a masterclass. So really, that's what these 20-minute consultations are for. And for anybody who's really looking to take that next step, other than just kind of working on this by yourself and just having support by your side, if you wanted a dedicated member or a dedicated walkthrough specific class, then they would go ahead and recommend you for these sessions. So definitely just wanted to start off the call and kind of mention that. And for anybody who's feeling like they need more specific help with them and their business, and kind of seeing where they are and gauging that response, go ahead and book this free consultation here that you'll see, land flipping coaching, as you'll see there. And that will be the next step for you to go ahead and take with the Investment Dominator. So hopefully that does answer that question. And it was a great question that was asked. Again, sorry that I did not grab the person's name. Now, as far as it goes, let's go ahead and end this polling. Looks like there are some new people, but mostly some veteran users with the Investment Dominator, which is great. Hopefully everybody can really come out of this session learning something. And as far as it goes, which feature you would like to see discussed during this session, it looks like recent updates. So Yeah, that's great, especially because there are a lot of updates that are happening behind the scenes with the Investment Dominator. And just to be able to kind of showcase that, I want to go ahead and show everybody right now how you can actually view the updates that are being done to the Investment Dominator. So these updates are more in particular, so specific issues with the Investment Dominator that have been fixed rather than big updates like our wizards. Because for example, if we go over here to our user guide, we don't even have to type in a keyword. We could just hit search. We'll come back here. For anything that's, really like dashboard changing or specific features are going to be changed around, for example, you would want to go ahead and hit this button here that says what's new. And again, that was just by clicking on that user guide link and finding this tab here. And that'll go ahead and show you all the brand new updates that would really um, have a big feature that's kind of involved with the Investment Dominator. So for example, our new dashboard navigation, our phone number validation required, as well as the extensions being added onto the phone numbers too. And our most recent one was this brand new wizard screen update. But let's go ahead and walk through actually more of the specific details and fixes that were involved with the Investment Dominator. The best way to do that is to actually come to your user guide here and to type in system space update, and then we'll hit enter, and that will be the first article that does come up here. So if we go ahead and click on system updates and roadmap, what we're going to see are all the planned updates that are coming for the Investment Dominator in no particular order up here. And then this is where we really start to break down some of the updates. So especially if you have submitted a ticket and you wanted to check if that went ahead and just kind of updated, you could come over here and if you guys have any recommendations as far as like if you can't understand the material or anything that's on this page, definitely go ahead and just shout that out or write in a feedback ticket. But we're really trying to keep it clean and concise as far as being able to track the information and follow through with it. So let me just walk through an example here. I believe this was February. Okay, so let's start with February and then we'll just go into March. But really February, what you'll see here is number one, the date, so February 4th. And then if there's issues listed in black font, then that means it was a particular fix that happened with the Investment Dominator. But then if you notice more of this teal color followed by the update, then that means that something was updated within the Investment Dominator. So again, February 4th, we went ahead and fixed some issues with the selling site drag and drop menu that wasn't working correctly. Let's see here, February 10th, we added these new main wizards, which all of you are now welcoming to the Investment Dominator. So these 7 wizards. And just a little tidbit on that. As far as the future with the Investment Dominator, I don't want to say too much, but we actually do hope to expand the amount of wizards that we have for more functions that are involved with the Investment Dominator. So just stay tuned for that. And update here, let's see. So the new dashboard is broken down into 3 main sections. And this is what we talk about. So for example, let's go back here to the dashboard. We have the dashboard section. We have records in process. So if you wanted to directly go to your land section, you could actually click that there. Houses, marketing, and notes. Just as you've seen before the wizards, it's now just directly under. But just keep in mind, you won't have all of your specific statuses here shown. For that, you would want to go to land and go to dashboard. And then, depending on, I don't think I have enough records where it would trigger in my account. But let's say you're somebody who works with like hundreds of thousands of records, you'll see all those statuses pop up there. And directly underneath this is the team calendar and kind of the task calendar too. So within future updates for the Investment Dominator, we are kind of revamping that task aspect of the Investment Dominator, and we're kind of releasing that in waves. So in the future, that will be updated as well. If we go down here, Let's see, we updated the edit record page with the new wizards, so there's new database fields. There's also a comparable section as well as a financing section. Let's see, the extension field was added to the phone numbers under company information. And more information about that, let's see, we changed the date formatting back in February 14th. So really this is, just kind of giving you that high level overview of what updates are being done and what different processes are being made. So if you're seeing a new issue in your Investment Dominator, it might actually be helpful to actually just view this system updates and see if something was particularly updated that pertains to your issue, because if there was a conflict there, our team will have to respond to that accordingly. Now, more stuff here about fixes that are being done, and now we really start to talk about some of the more merge fields and formats of how everything is being allowed. For example, we added military addresses to the state fields. Just kind of expanding and building upon our user base has really come a long way. And you'll see more information here. And then now we get into the changes that have happened this month. So now we start talking about March. And, we're only March 10th right now, so we have March 2nd. Just fixed issues with the Investment Dominator API. So for example, for those of you who had some trouble working through with Zapier, we had to do some testing in order to go ahead and fix our API to be able to respond to the sold and the found buyer open escrow, which a lot of our members kind of just work through and use. So that has now been fixed. And let's see here, some more updates to be able to kind of register with the system, as well as we made some adjustments to the make offers wizards based on some feedback that was given to us, as well as tickets too. But really, with the make offered wizard, let's see, we added the ability to edit the import information with the property without having to leave the wizard. Originally, we would ask for you to open that in a new tab, but now you can actually change the information directly. So we added the actual name for the offer agreement. Before that was named as something else, but you'll see that offer, like the actual offer agreement. Actually, let me go ahead and show you this live, because this one is an important one. Let's see. Actually, it's part of the wizard. So make offers. Let's say if I continue. Let's see. So I want to get to the point where it goes ahead and asks me for printing out the documents. And so before offer agreement wasn't included there, and you'll see that that's now pops up. So that wasn't an option that was on the wizard, but it was normally an option within already the edit property and generating those documents. So along with that, let's see, where was I? Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so here. So also number 3, you can now add notes and see the current notes of your property when you're working with the offer wizard. And last but not least, this one here, the Google map is now an image when you have already set the location. So it's not just a field that doesn't populate anything. Now the Google map will go ahead and show up, and we also have added a button so that the Google Map integration on the wizard will go ahead and pop up instead of just being a static image. So yeah, some great updates coming to that, and definitely recommend, of course, just going through with that, especially if you're hearing any of these changes now and it's pertains to something that had given you some trouble before. Just go ahead and check that. It probably was updated in one of these updates. And then let's see here. So there was an issue with the dashboard icon looking a little bit distorted, but that was fixed, as well as the and symbol on the signature line that, that was presented for some users. That was fixed as well. And really, if this was kind of easy to follow and just kind of understand, I definitely recommend that you go ahead and review this. What could be also something that you could do too is you can, if you're on a Windows computer, you can go ahead and do Control F just to pop up that search bar, and let's say you just type in like offer, and then you'll see, there's 49 examples of offers popping up. And if you just go through them, you could see, you start at the top and just make your way down to see every time offers were made, or, something with the selling side or a data tree, anything of that sort. This document will go ahead and help you with. But yeah, so that'll go ahead and walk us through some of those topics there. And now I just kind of want to bring to your attention some tips with the Investment Dominator, as well as some, I would say, a little bit of an advanced feature as well. And this really pertains to importing lists within your Investment Dominator, or just really any actions that are happening within your Investment Dominator. You may have wondered, like what happens if I go ahead and I work through with the record, and I, change the record and I edit the property information, and I come back and let's say, we have another member of the team that is also working through some of the same records that we're dealing with here today. And you just want to keep in mind, to be able to view all the team member access and all of the actions that you've made in your account personally, you would want to refer to this team section here, and then you'll see dashboard. You can click on team and dashboard. So number one, when you're on this section here, it's going to go ahead and present you with your admin account, but it's also going to show you any other member which would be listed as an alternative account for the Investment Dominator that's associated with you. So for example, if you have any Pat Live representatives or anything like that, they will be listed out here, etc. Now, just before I kind of dive into more about the activity log, let's say we're editing this representative account. So there are different field requirements here when you're working with the representative account compared to a admin account. So for example, allowing to edit different fields, or you can allow them to delete properties, merge properties, edit properties. Now, one thing you just want to keep in mind is that you want to remove specific access, which would I would say deter you from continuing on with your business. And what I mean by that is that, if you have team member access and let's say you allow just everything, there is a chance that they could delete a contact or delete a property or something like that. So that's something you want to be mindful of, and you can definitely just turn that option off if you so choose, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, again, if they are working with specific parts of your Investment Dominator, they may need that admin status, and with that, they may need to be able to edit properties or change some of the information there. So for example, if we head back here, and now we're back in the My Team section, the number one thing that you can go ahead and do just to be able to review all the activities, since let's say, you took a little bit of a break from the Investment Dominator, let's say a couple days, but your team is still working on it, you can actually just come over here to the activity log to be able to view exactly what was being done by specific team members for your account. So, everything under your name, you'll see pop up there, and as well as if anybody else if anybody else does stuff as well, that'll pop up under the user as well as the action that was made. So one thing that you might not have known about is if you come directly here, let's say, we have an update by importing a list. So let's say we wanted to get more details about that, because that's pretty vague. What list? Oh, let's see. The list was updated on 3/10, 2022 at 12:25. So for example, if I wanted to go ahead and review that, if you click on, oh, whoops, let's pick something else. Let's say like this one. So if you click on detail, this is a data tree example, but if it was a normal CSV list, you will actually go ahead and see that, the exact transaction that's going on here, as well as all the fields that pertains to that. Let's try to go ahead and get another one. So let's see. Want to get a CSV list. If not, we're just going to work through an example where we see that. So another one here. So this one is mainly about, let's close that for right now. If you're going ahead and seeing updates, we'll see updates on this land deals and it'll show a number here. If you go ahead and click on that, that will actually bring you to the record that we're working with. So for example, this record that was updated is Annie Haynes. It's now in the open escrow detailed research. So if we come back here, I believe that was this one here, and we click on details, we'll see more, no, it was the one above. We'll see, no, it was, sorry about that, it was this one. I can't remember which one it was now. But basically what you're going to see is that the old information pertaining to your record will go ahead and be updated, but it will present to you on this screen option here, you know, the exact changes that were being done. So for example, the old values that were there, and then the new values that were updated when you updated that record. So for example, if at any time you feel like you want to go ahead and redo something or undo something, you can actually just click on that here, click on that button to undo it. And it's going to go ahead and just prompt you, say, you know, are you sure you want to undo this activity? And, you know, let's say you edited some information, but let's say by chance you were looking at another record. So you entered in the wrong information for a new record. Since you go ahead and update that and every single action is tracked within the Investment Dominator, what you could actually go ahead and do is actually be able to undo that, and you know, you come back into the system and all the information that was there before is now loaded and you've undid, you know, basically all the errors that you've done. Now, in regards to that, I would like to bring up just more user guide articles about that. So if you're having issues with anything with the Investment Dominator, there most likely is a user guide article about it. So for example, if we type in undo, we could see this one here. And this is the activity log, how to go ahead and undo actions. So for example, there's a couple places where you can see actions. So this record here that I had opened up with this property ID, that open escrow record, if I actually scroll all the way down to this record, at the bottom, what you're going to see is activity logs. So let's say you're working on a record that's in, let's say, you know, you're past the make offer stage and you're kind of following up with that record. And, you know, you noticed a potential teammate actually made an update, but they weren't supposed to. So for example, what you'll see here is the activity log, which will be presented in that edit record. That's where we are now. We're in that edit record part. And you'll find the activity and you'll see like, oh, you know, John Doe went ahead and updated the land deals for this record. And you click on that. And this is going to present you with the actual, you know, the update that was done. So then you can click on detail to actually view the update that was made. So as it pertains to this, you know, you can really keep track of the Investment Dominator as well as a lot of actions that are happening. So, you know, when you start to expand and you start to add more team members, you can really just, you know, feel safe in the fact that at any time you can go ahead and, you know, reverse any of the changes or undo them or fix them. And it's not like all hope is really lost with that. So hopefully that does help you just kind of understanding that activity log. And something that I would like to also mention to you is that if we come over here to, let's say, land, and then we want to go ahead to, I believe it was to edit the record. Or no, if we go over here to land right there, and then we go to import. So along with the activity log, you will notice that you know, there is this section here called imports. And imports is really going to go ahead and show you specifically all the imports that were done for your Investment Dominator. So, you know, if you're working through with the activity log and let's say you have team members that are making updates, but you want to really focus on all the imports that were done and made onto your account, you can actually come to this land, import your land section here. And what you're going to see is the progress bars as far as what CSV lists were imported, but you get that actions here. So when you click on actions, you'll get that detailed report of really what you were working with and how you can go ahead and address that. So just keep that in mind as well, especially if you are having some troubles with the CSV file. Now it looks like Diana might have lost sound. It looks like we're getting in the chat, so I'm pretty sure you guys are hearing me, but if you do have any audio troubles at all, just rejoin the session again, and that'll go ahead and fix that issue for you. But okay, thank you for informing me too that the audio is good. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and see the next kind of thing that we could work on. And okay, so now you might not have known, let's say you are on the land section of your deals and kind of working through with this information. So let's say that you're working with some records and you want to actually be able to, you see these two options, and these two options are, number one, generate documents, and the other option is actually your campaigns. So those are really, intertwined with each other, but they serve different purposes. So for example, if I go over here and I want to check on my campaigns and I want to see all of the offers that I have, just keep in mind that these would have to be under preliminary research, pending preliminary research, so that you can go ahead and see these. But, if I click on these documents, let's say I generate my PDF here and I open that, one thing you want to keep in mind is that, let's say we want to send to Ronald, we want to send to Herman, but Jeff Bloom was not supposed to be on our list. Like, for example, this is Baker County, Florida. Let's say this one too, Baker County, Florida. And all of a sudden we have this New York record here, Richmond County, New York. Now, when you're generating your campaign, you're going to notice that this actually does, kind of limit you in the fact that any record that picks up with this available criteria. So again, that was with your, the record is under the status of pending preliminary research, and also the offer amount is filled in and the back taxes is filled in. So any record inside of your Investment Dominator that triggers those conditions will actually get picked up to go ahead and generate your criteria. But now when we're working here, and let's say, we actually don't want to send to anybody in New York, we want to actually hone in on that. What you can do instead of using this campaign option is to actually come over here and to generate those documents. So for example, let's see, let's do a search for the status of pending preliminary research. Let's do a search. And then we have all of our records here. So for example, I have the two Florida Bakers that are up here, and then I have the New York Richmond. So for example, if I wanted to first prioritize this Florida Baker before I went ahead and took care of this New York Richmond, one thing you might consider is actually coming over here to these two records, this Florida Baker that we're working with, both of these, selecting them. And then what you're going to notice is that, because you only have your two records selected, as you'll see there, you can actually just go ahead and generate those documents. And this will take you through the same exact process that you do for your campaigns, but really, just trying to explain the fact here is that you can choose the specific records that you want to work with instead of having the bulk majority of every single record that you have under pending preliminary research to go ahead and process. So just keep that in mind. And for example, if we click on offer here, we still have our options under the drop down for local printer as well as other. So if you want to go ahead and get those local printer documents, you can go ahead and do that first. And you might not have known this, but you can scroll down here as well. So there are additional documents. I know it just kind of like leaves open like that, and you're thinking like, well, I only have two documents here, but there's this little scroll feature. So just scroll that down. You'll get all of your documents, the cover letter, the offer, the Exhibit A, for example. And then if we close that, then when you go ahead here and you see other, then that's where you'll go ahead and download that CSV mailing list if you are using a specific mail house which requires that. We do have a question from John. John's saying, when I use the generate documents, it doesn't fill in the letter with the information from the record. So for example, if I, just to kind of show you something about that. Oh, wait, sorry, John. Give me one second. I don't want to get distracted off of this right now, but just one thing to also keep in mind about this is that, once you're done kind of generating these documents, that's not the final step. You actually want to go ahead and bulk update when you're done. So by default, when you're generating a campaign, it will lead you to the screen, but you need to actually remember this when you are generating your documents so you know exactly how to update that. So for example, after pending preliminary research, then we'll go ahead, offer sent. That's the next status that we're going to update to. If you want to go ahead and change anything about your offer, accept by, or let's say you wanted to add a tag, you'll do that, and then you'll just click on update, and that'll be completed. Okay, now, John brought up a good point about, let's say you try to generate one of these documents for pending preliminary research, but it doesn't work. So for example, if we come over here, just keep in mind of the specific requirements that are needed to be met. So if I click onto prospects, let's see here, I have a prospect record here that I can work with. So if I click onto this, and then I click on, let's say, generate documents, and then I have my one record selected. And one thing you wanted to keep in mind, I'll go back in case if I did that too fast. This is a record that's in the prospect status, right? And I'm going to go ahead and try to generate the documents and generate an offer. You'll see that when I get local printer, I have this option here to actually generate the PDF. Now, that's interesting because, because of this prospect record, what you're going to see here is that we actually cannot generate the information needed to be able to print out on those pending preliminary research. So these offer package, and you can't generate that because you need to have the specific conditions met. And, we don't want to go ahead and confuse you just about that and the different requirements that are needed. But like I did mention, if you did have any questions as it pertains to that, if you go ahead and use our user guide here and just type in, let's say offer, and you want to just go ahead and work through that, you do have the option to go ahead and work with this offer wizards, but you'll see more articles along the lines of how to go ahead and make that offer. So how to go ahead and process that. There should be one for land. Let's see, offer package. All right, here, how to generate an offer package for land investing. So, you always want to keep in mind of the different requirements, because sometimes, you will have I did have the functionality to actually pick a prospect record and generate an offer, but none of the criteria or conditions were met to actually be able to generate that. And, you'll just constantly keep getting that error until you actually read, like, oh, wait, we need to be able to actually have a market value, back taxes, or any penalties that are kind of owed by the property before we're able to generate the specific needs that we're trying to meet. So something great to just keep in mind, and also moving forward. Let's see, we had a couple questions come in with that. Okay, so let's see, let's break this down. So we have a question here from Samantha, and Samantha's saying, for my offer letter, I changed the information in company profile, but I have to keep changing the website and number. Is there a way to customize it so we don't have to do that? Great question, Samantha. And what I can say is that right off the bat, if you are working with a default document with the Investment Dominator, that'll be all set in stone and changed, pertaining to your information. But also, if you are using custom documents, that's where you might have to actually add in some additional fields or just have the correct information. We do offer a lot of templates for these custom documents. We don't want to leave you in the dark with that, so it would either be along the lines of using one of our custom documents or working through with that. Now, one thing that I will need to stress, just in regards to Samantha, is that she just mentioned company profile, and I just want to be sure, this profile section that you're working through with, if we go to my profile, this is not actually going to have to deal with any information that's going on to your letters. So that's something you want to keep in mind. This information here under the My Profile section is actually only going to be used for Investment Dominator customer support services. So that's how primarily we will contact you. Anything that has to do with your company and all of the information in relation to that would actually go under the company information here. So all of this information that you're seeing right now and that we discussed on that Monday call about, making sure that you have this set up before you go ahead and do your mailings, this is going to be the exact information that's printed out on your mailings. And just to kind of show you an example of that, all of this information here that I have, if we go ahead here to my dashboard, and let's say I choose prospects again, and I just want to generate that prospect neutral letter. Go ahead, generate documents, prospect neutral letter, local printer, click on that PDF. And again, you'll see all of that information there. So all of this information that comes up at the bottom, the only thing that I will say that doesn't come from company information is for your signatures. So that's something to also keep in mind. And it looks like, just to clarify the question, it was in relation to let's see, the offer cover letters. Okay, so if I have a record that's let's say in that pending, where is it, status, pending preliminary research, and I search, we'll get the records that had popped up before. So let's see, we have this one here. If I want to go ahead and view that, so for example, you have the option of either using campaigns or working through with this, or I do believe you could also use the wizards as well, just in terms of generating those documents. But if we're here, let's generate this document, and then we go to offer, and we click on local printer. Again, you'll have that offer here. So offer cover letter, this was the offer cover letter, PDF. So this is really where you would go ahead and see all that information that pertains. So, my information within my Investment Dominator doesn't have everything as set up as, you would, but that will go ahead and generate there. So it's picking up everything that I put directly into my Investment Dominator. If there's any more questions about that, Samantha, definitely recommend just submitting a ticket, just kind of, further inquiring about that. But let's see here. As far as more questions that had come up, okay, so John has a question here. And John's asking, I'm trying to generate the neutral letters, but the letters have a bunch of fields with these greater than and less than signs. Great question, John. And just to clarify more about that, so let's go back to our prospects, and then let's scroll down. We're going to see this prospect record here that we're working with. Let's try to generate this document. When we click on generate documents, you're going to have a couple of options as far as it goes with prospect neutral letter. Now, for most people, when you're working through with your prospect neutral letter, all you would have to actually do is click onto the PDF option for your letters as well as the envelope. This is the final formatting that either, if you want to go ahead and print out these letters, you would go ahead and work through with that. But for example, let's say that you have a specific printer which has specific requirements, for you to go ahead and print and format your documents. So this is when you would click onto Other, and the Other would provide you with these letter templates in the doc format. Again, just Word doc. So if we go ahead and open this up, what you're seeing, this specific formatting. So for the large majority of users who are using this doc format, let's say they're sending to somebody like ITI, that mail house. ITI actually requires you to have two things. So the first one being is you need to have this neutral letter, and it has to be formatted exactly like this. Because when you're sending that to ITI, they'll go ahead and match the records to the exact merge fields that they have. So for this doc format, since we understand that our audience does use this a lot, it's already formatted in a way that has these specific, we like to call them merge fields, but one thing about them is that merge fields are different for every single company. So the merge fields for us don't have this. So if I go ahead and enable editing, the merge fields for us, would look something like this. Meanwhile, the merge fields for ITI would look something like, as you're seeing there, with the less than and greater than signs. So that's something to keep in mind. And, if you're working with this format and you're not specifically sending to ITI, then you don't even really have to worry about that. You can just go ahead and print off those PDF options. Again, that was generate documents, local printer, and then you'll get those PDF documents there, which are already formatting. And again, even if you're not using, your actual local printer, let's say you're sending to ITI or something, you can just generate these PDFs right there as well. But just keep in mind about those specific merge fields. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. Right, the other option. Because the thing about it is that when you go ahead and click onto the other option, rather than clicking onto the local printer option, you are going to get a different option, and that option there is that CSV mailing list. Again, that's something that really gets sent to that mail house so that they can process. But I'll just open this up quickly. Let me go ahead and fix that. Go ahead and just open this up. And for example, you'll see it as pertains to something that would be sent to ITI, for example. All of that filled out there. All right, hopefully that does help you with that. Now, as far as it goes, I think maybe there was one more question that was asked in the chat. Let's see here. So Stephen Jones, is asking, let's say, he's asking, I created a group of offers and they defaulted to the Eastern Standard Time for the signature deadlines. Do I have to generate custom documents to have them all created using Central Time for the signature deadline? So again, he's working with group of offers for the same seller. So I believe there was an option when we went ahead and generated kind of the offers. There was another option there to be able to choose. So this, for example, when you're working with, now this is with generating documents. So let me try the campaign option rather. But let's say, you're working with your campaigns, or go ahead and send out your campaigns, and then you'll finish that there. You printed out all your documents. When you go to bulk update and you click on advanced options, there are some different things that you can add here, as far as like specific dates that you would just want to keep in mind or have attached to those records. And as far as it goes with kind of the profile section here that you were talking about, so with the time zone, and just keep in mind that any information that has to deal with your company will be under customized. It will be under company information. And if you're talking about, you're having Eastern Standard Time under that company time zone, for your company time zone, you might want to go ahead and list out there actually, the specific time zone that's in relation for you and what you're working with. Now, if you're going ahead and still working through with this, there is a couple more settings that you can go ahead and see. So for example, for any documents that you're sending, you actually can go ahead and click on Document Template Settings. This will allow you to really start to analyze even further how you want to customize your letters. For example, the margins or the specific font that you're working with there. And for example, we have these default offer accept by, default option accept by, offer expires. So by default, these values are all listed there, but you can change them at any time as well too. If you are noticing that when you're generating your documents, it does keep coming up when you're, doing the normal way, it might indeed actually help you to go ahead and move over to a custom document to be able to get the specific formatting that you're working with there. But all this information will switch as it pertains to the Investment Dominator. All right. Now, yes, and we do have really extensive articles. I just want to let me see if I can pull that up. So just really when you're working with custom documents, let's say a custom offer, you type into the Investment Dominator user guide, and we actually have these templates. So for example, it's just called How to Customize Jack's Template or Customize the Offer Contract for Land Buying. We're providing these examples to you. And what you'll see here is that when we inform you about the content that's going to be in the document itself, we actually give you a link, and all this information will set up the document exactly how it's supposed to be. But you can go into the document itself and change any of the text as it pertains to you and really what you're working with. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And you can see even for this letter here, some of the merge fields that we were talking about. For example, it's pulling in your offer email, as well as, my company name, my company address, my company's city, state, and zip. So again, all this information is going to be pulled from your Investment Dominator. But yes, hopefully that will kind of help you and move that forward. As far as it goes with some other questions that I want to get to, let's see here. So let's see. Okay, so we got two questions in relation to the REI Printmail integration and just like how this information is being pulled into the Investment Dominator and kind of where is it coming from is what it looks like. And let's say, so let me think about how I want to go ahead and explain this. But basically, to kind of walk you through that, when you are using our REI Printmail integration, you will be pulling, in part of the verification process that takes place when they go ahead and verify all the records that you're working with in your prospect status. One thing you have to keep in mind is that your company information, for example, if this is not up to date and it's not correct, it actually won't go ahead and generate REI Printmail order. It's going to give you an error telling you that, for example, company state, company zip needs to be applied. So that's something that, you would want to actually be aware of. And if we come over here to dashboard, just to show you, if we go ahead here to campaigns and we go ahead here to, let's say, prospect neutral letter, just keep in mind that the REI Printmail integration does only work for the prospect neutral letter right now. But if we click on that, again, we're going to see 18 records here, and we can click on next to go ahead and generate that order. This is going to verify everything that we have on our company information, make sure that's correct, make sure there's no errors there, because again, when you're using the REI Printmail integration, you're sending to a virtual mail house. So, you're doing everything in your Investment Dominator and you're trying to move forward with that, but that's actually going to take place there. And then in this CAS certification program, this kind of what it's going ahead and doing is actually verifying all the records that you're sending individually and telling you, if there was any issues, or let's say if there was any information that doesn't match up with the actual county data, it's going to present those records as an issue. So that's something to also keep in mind. Now, as far as kind of what is being talked about in this specific question that's being asked, it looks like it does really pertain to just more of a ticket and just kind of submitting a ticket and kind of working through with that. But as far as, what information is coming from us and being sent to the REI Printmail integration, it's really your company information. And then that's going ahead and that order is generating specifically with REI Printmail. So at that point, anything that happens after you generate that order, that would directly deal with the REI Printmail support team on that end. So for example, just to show everybody an example of what we're talking about and kind of this CAS certification program. You'll see here that, number one, we have at the top successfully processed records, as well as 3 records that were rejected. So, it does happen sometimes, especially when you're working with a lot of records. But you'll see here, so for example, the error message that we're getting from REI Printmail about these specific 3 records have to deal with the mailing address 1, mailing address city, mailing state, and mailing zip not lining up with what is with the county. So for example, if we come over here and we see the property ID that we're working with, we can actually click on the specific property ID that we want to go ahead and hone in on. And then you'll see there that the record does pop up. So everything pops up here. And you would just need to go ahead and just check. So for example, the mailing address looks like, it's verifying that this address is not correct. And that's something that might have been imported into our document, but we'll need to go ahead and check later. And what we can do so that, you can go ahead and still process through with this REI Printmail order is actually, you can just, keep these open in separate tabs like this, for example, and just have all of these to work through with. But you can go ahead and continue and still go ahead and process your order. Now, as far as really going ahead and finalizing your campaign, I really hope I really hope this loads fast enough so I can show you the example. But somebody did ask a question more along the lines of, can we see the information that's being sent with the REI Printmail integration? Considering that, it is a virtual mail house? And the answer to that is yes. Once it goes ahead and generates, and it does take some time, so please bear with it. But once you go ahead and generate those, you will be able to see basically live prints of your documents, just as you would if you were to click onto a local printer or clicking on other, to be actually able to go ahead and see how your documents will be printed. And it's at that point that you're doing that review within your system, where you will go ahead and be able to just determine, oh, wait, like I forgot to update this part of my company information, or I forgot to update, this specific part about that record or something of that before you actually go ahead and send over the money to process this mailing. So, REI Printmail does present a lot of verification processes that need to be met before you go ahead and do this. And thankfully, this actually went ahead and showed me. So number one, it's going to go ahead and just verify with you that order ID number that pops up, as well as just showing you that. And again, making sure that your company information is all set before continuing through with this. And this is shown for every single record that you would potentially be sending out. Once you're done with that, you can review and approve and continue. It'll show you the envelopes that you're going to go ahead and work through with. You'll go ahead and enter that information, and your information will already pop up there in the top left, and this will be the person you're sending to, followed by the reference ID. Go ahead and place that order, and then when you place that order, then it'll go ahead and pop up with the order number and the amount. So hopefully that does kind of show you, if you weren't aware of the REI Printmail integration steps, or if you're just interested in it in the future, about all about it. So please search our user guide for more information about that, but we are just running out of time here. So Even though we're on the dot right now, I would like to go ahead and finish my quote here that I have. And the quote is from Lou Holtz. And the quote goes, if you're bored with life, you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things, then you don't have enough goals. And one thing that I really want to stress to you all, which I have definitely seen an improvement in my life just from working through with it, is actually being able to set up goals. But just to have that vision and that mission in mind of that goal that you want to achieve, but actually setting up little micro goals, little milestones along the way when you're working through with the Investment Dominator that really cheer and motivate you to just keep going to hit that end goal. Sometimes if you just set that one goal, being able to, not achieve it as fast as you want, or being able to get those results is going to really deter you from getting that. But setting up those micro goals, like let's say, 1,000 mailings, send out those offers, follow up with them, really pursue them and track them. That's going to really give you this underlying motivation that's going to motivate you to hit these goals that you want to hit, as well as to see your progress with the Investment Dominator. As you put more time in and really start to understand what you need to do and what you need to focus on, you're going to see a vast improvement from when you first started using the Investment Dominator. But along the way, you can always message support or just reach out to us if you have any questions along your journey. So with that being said, we're going to end our Thursday call, and I can't stress enough, I really do appreciate everybody who's sending in your questions. Really hope everybody learned something from this session, and we'll go ahead and see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.